welcome from South Social Film Festival. We're very happy that this is the first Swedish Cineclub that we do, and we're very happy that we do it in collaboration with the Swedish Embassy. We have also Pia Lundberg, who's here with us tonight, so maybe she wants to say a word afterwards, or she wants to ask the questions, we'll see. Well, the film tonight, it's a very, very special film because, I mean, we do talk about diversity, we do talk about inclusivity a lot in our festival, and also about, you know, gender identity, which is really at the core of everything right now. You know, who you recognize yourself to be, you know, who you want to be, what people see in you, etc. And I think this film, especially because of you know, the fact that you have this very young people, you know, teenagers, and they don't really know anything about what their bodies is going through, you know, so they're just trying to understand the differences, changes, and so it's really adolescence, you know, it's just the fact that you're entering into a new age, into a new stage of your life, and you just have to understand, to explore, and I think it's a great film because it really shows the two sides of it, you know, when you're still a teenager and when you get into adulthood, and you really need to yeah, kind of understand again, you know, who you are. So so I was really touched by this film. And I'm very happy that Tuva could make it tonight. You have also Alexandra, the filmmaker. She couldn't make it tonight because she's working on a new production. So you know, she's very sorry, but you know, she sends her love. But we got here Tuva that, you know, definitely. So yeah, tell me a bit, how was the process? Because, you know, the casting, I mean, if it was really easy to, or, you know, how you really kind of enter the character, you know, how do you work on it?
Well, we could start with the casting, because I was not an actor when I casted for this role. I saw the poster on the wall in my school that they searched for young girls and boys my age, and I was like, yeah, that seems like a fun thing to do, just something to do with my friend. My friend's interested in theatre, so I'll take her with me and we can go to this casting. And I went to the casting, and it was a simple, just make a phone call and pretend you're talking to someone. It doesn't matter who, it doesn't matter about what, and we'll film it, and if we like it, you can come back. And they liked it, so they wanted me to come back, and I did 3 other castings with scripts and that I had to learn, and met other people that I casted with, and I thought they couldn't possibly want me. There's no way in the world that they would want me, because I have short hair. Because I had cut my hair earlier that year, and I was certain that they wanted a girl with long hair, because everyone wants to go with long hair, because that's when you can do stuff with the hair and like have the freedom to the possibilities. And then they actually wanted a girl with short hair, so I was lucky. And then when they called and said that I've gotten the role, that was the day I actually went out of, it was my last day in high school. I think that's the term, the 9th year of school, at least. Yeah. So it was a big day because of that. And then this call, and it was after the summer that we started filming, and immediately I started diving deep into the character, and I read the book, of course. It was yeah, I read the book, and I read the script, and they differ partly because the book is more about adolescence and growing up and finding yourself, but the film is focusing more on the transsexuality of the lead character, Kim. And it's quite obvious that she is transsexual, because he is so much more comfortable in the boy's body. So obviously I started delving into that, and I watched a documentary about transsexuality, a girl who had been born in a boy's body, and found it very, very interesting, and tried to like find what in me could relate to that. And I was 16 years old, so of course I could relate to not feeling comfortable in your body. Most teenagers don't, but so that's how I related to that. I just, everything's new when you're a teenager, and everything's uncertain. So yeah, I guess that's how I went into it.
Yeah, that's perfect, absolutely, because I mean, I really think that you know, the casting is just so important in this film, and especially because, you know, you get all the transformation, you get all the other you know, the other people. But tell me a bit about also because there was I mean, and then they had to pick up also the three boys, right? Yeah, because I mean, at a certain point, you know, I was a bit confused, you know, so because they really, I mean, there's definitely a resemblance, you know, I mean, it's just so well done, you know, that's again, you know, I guess the makeup artist, you know, the change is just perfect. So how did they transition, you know, from one to the other, you know, how did you relate to that?
Well, the first time I saw, you know, the first transition when we stand in front of the mirror and it's like, you see the face in the mirror and it turns over to his face.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw that, I didn't see the whole movie, I just saw that clip. I screamed out loud because it was so confusing, and like I was like, what, that's me, but that's not me, and now it's what. And when I show it to friends, like, because it's in the trailer, so I can show it to everyone when they're like, what is this movie? What are you talking about? So, and they're like, I'm like, that's me, that's not me. And they're like, yeah, it's still you. I see it's still you. So that's super weird that they actually managed to find someone that was so like me. And the fun thing is that he, Emmerich is his name, Emmerich's sister, they're twins. But I'm more like him than his actual twin sister.
Fantastic.
So that's a funny fact for you. But we never filmed together, me and the other boys, because when they were boys, I was always also a boy, or the character was also always a boy, and so I never filmed with them. But we had meetings before we started filming, and we did these typical theater exercises where you pretend to be an animal and you crawl around on the floor and you try to like impersonate an animal. And then we did the mirroring exercise where you're supposed to not know who is leading and just follow, and no, it's not clear who's leading. And like,
it's all new to us, so it's brilliant kind of like hearing about the theatre.
I've been through a few theatre courses and like improvisational theatre, and they're kind of common, these exercises, so I'm like, everybody knows about them. But then of course, if you're not into theatre, then of course you don't. But like really strange stuff, you would say. Like, it's not, if you think of a usual work day, it's not what you would imagine, crawling around on the floor and pretending to be an animal. It's kind of weird, but it was to like to know each other and to feel comfortable around each other. And we had this talk when we brought one thing that was significant for us from our childhood or from a certain memory, and we brought a picture and a little thing, and we took them to the place where we're supposed to meet, and then we talked about them so that we could share our memories and try to get to know each other better. So I remember I brought a toy monkey and a picture of me and my grandpa, I think, and I talked about that. But I'm sorry, I don't remember what the other ones brought. It's okay. It's too long ago.
Can you tell us any kind of like memories of what we tried to project onto him, to kind of like, you know, what we said that made him kind of like absorb your character as Kim?
I don't know who actually absorbed who, because we never got to see each other act until the very end. so I don't know, I just think it was magnificent casting, because the way, when I see it now, I'm like, we move exactly the same, and we have the same kind of mimics, facial mimics, and it's very interesting to see afterwards when you have a distance.
Sorry, how was working with Alexandra? I mean, she gave you precise direction. She let you, work a bit on your own. How was it? I mean, what kind of feeling you got from working with her?
She was very special because she's a very quiet director, and usually they're not very quiet. They usually have like, but you could tell she had a certain idea about what she wanted, but she always asked you what you were thinking. So she would ask me, what do you think Kim would do in this situation? What do you think she would? And you knew she had an idea, but if I came up with something that she liked more than her idea, then we did that. And it was like always a conversation between us. And I was 16, so I was like a kid, and she still thought that my opinions were valid, and my idea about the character was worth listening to, and that was really cool.
It kind of makes it more real, doesn't it? Like when your feedback about kind of like how you feel in the character kind of like makes it more relevant to the director, because it's obviously kind of like their job to give you direction, but in the same time kind of like it just makes people more alive and real when you can have your input.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's a great it's like a gift for a director, to just be able to engage with the actors, instead of just telling them exactly you have to do this and that's about it, because that kind of closes down all kind of opportunities, or kind of growing together into a scene. So that's very good. And what else? I mean, is there any special memory that you have of the shooting on set? And was it really long? Did you take many takes, for example?
I remember that, well, it was my first experience on set, so I didn't have much to compare to, but the other ones who were the ones who were working like behind the camera, they were used to working behind the camera, of course, and they said that this was the best set they'd been on. It was like a family, and I felt that through and through, and I think that's why I fell in love with it even more. Like, I love acting, but the way we were like together as a family on that set, it was very special, and I don't think that's very common, but it was lovely. And some scenes I remember we did like 2 or 3 takes, and that was it. And then others, I remember the one you actually posted a picture of that one when I lay in bed listening to music in one ear, and I turn my head like that and I look above the camera. I just turn my head like that. That was it. And I think we took that 15 times, because the lighting was wrong and the sound was wrong, and the cameras was out of battery, and there was no more memory, and there was something about it's so it's very, there are very many components to what makes a take good. Even it was just that.
Sometimes the simplest things kind of like are actually the most difficult, but it's interesting how you mentioned that. What was kind of like, what were the like biggest joys of like filming? Like, what would you remember as kind of like the like, has anything, because you said that it's your first kind of like acting experience, so has it, how was it for you? How did it kind of like, what did it bring to you to your acting, or kind of like your character really?
The 3 of us, the girls, we became best friends like that, and we had so fun. We were always joking on set and having fun and just being friends. And they made this picture of us from pictures we'd given them from when we were small, so it looked like we were all together in it when we were small, and it felt like we had known each other for years. And that was amazing. And also the boys were really good friends, because we met them like between takes, when it was like we had lunch at the same time, because they were in the take in the morning and we were in the take in the evening. So we met them all the time, and they were also we were all really good friends. And we were friends with the team, and everyone was so nice all the time. And I remember I didn't have a very good experience at school. People weren't nice to me directly, and then I came to this set and everyone was so nice all the time.
So you reckon you lived a bit the same situation as the main character in the film. So the school was a bit rejecting you, and you weren't really feeling comfortable.
Yeah, I actually never thought about it like that, but I guess I actually did live like my character.
Do you reckon that kind of like this film gave you like, it might have given you a kind of like a sense of comeback at them, because it becomes kind of like in a way quite strong, in a way like later in a movie there is a vulnerability and kind of like very, very big kind of at least that's my impression, fight within herself of like, who does she really want to be, and kind of like, yeah, the clash. But do you reckon there might have been a sense of kind of like you got their kind of upper hand at the people that made your growing up unpleasant through the film?
I think I got the upper hand of them as they live in my memory. I don't really care about them anymore, and I think that's the winning in this part.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, we got a question from Annabelle. Would you like to ask directly, Annabelle?
Yeah, sure. So it's a bit of a selfish question. Unfortunately, my internet connection was so bad I couldn't finish watching the film. So I have an engineer coming soon. So I don't want to ruin the film too much for myself by staying on here too long. But I did want to ask, have you acted in another language since then? And if so, how did it feel in comparison? And what does it mean to you for this and other Swedish films and television to be viewed globally?
We'll take the first one first, I think.
Yeah.
I have acted in English, and I have an agent in London who sends me self-tapes all the time, and I send them in, and it's really fun. But I think that in English it kind of becomes a little bit distant from me, and I'm trying to work away from that, but it's hard when you know you live in Sweden and you speak Swedish all the time, so it's easier for me. But yeah, I think that I have to put in more time when I work with a script in another language than in Swedish, because I'm very easy to learn words and stories and stuff, but in English it's a bit harder, and it's the pronunciation and the accent and the melody that you use, but I think it's a lot more interesting acting in English, because
challenging
it's more,
it's not your first language.
yeah, definitely, and I like a challenge.
Yeah, because you don't only have to like put a new persona on, but also kind of like adapt kind of certain cultural kind of like linguistic kind of nuances, and your English is brilliant. I mean, like certain words kind of I'll be like, I don't think that's Swedish, but yeah, it's a fun way to kind of like, I mean, so far Swedish people, like all the Swedish people I've met, like they've got a kind of amazing English, like they kind of like, you can get the kind of like melody quite well.
And do you feel like you kind of feel a different atmosphere in different languages? There's kind of that theory about, you know, there being different intention in different languages.
Yes, definitely. I can't really put a finger on it, but I feel a bit different as a person when I speak English than when I speak Swedish. And it might just be that I'm a bit more uncertain, or that it's a bit like more of a character that I put on. but yeah, I don't know, it's something is different.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's what we do all the time when we speak foreign languages, we'll just change our personality. So it's not only acting, it's also just speaking, just in the street everywhere. So yeah, it's true. But it's a great challenge. I think it's a great adventure, to do so. So yeah, we hope that you get a role here in London so you come and visit us.
Oh yeah, me too, definitely.
That'd be good. Yeah, absolutely. So have we got any other questions from
Well, did you have another question? You had two questions.
There was the second part of it, but
Yeah.
just what does it mean to you to have this film and Swedish films and TV gaining sort of popularity globally?
It's been very exciting to see this film thrive globally, but not in Sweden, because when I talk about in Sweden, everyone's like, they're either like, yeah, I've heard about that, but no, I don't know, or they're like, what? No, that sounds weird. But it's been on Apple TV in Mexico. It's been on Netflix in the US. It's yeah, and you're showing it, like, that was a surprise. But it feels like it's been more popular outside of Sweden than it's been inside of Sweden. So that's really cool.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe it's that it's Swedish, because I'm Swedish and I don't watch Swedish movies. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't.
I'm always curious because we talked about it like with other people from other countries, and actually kind of like most of them, Paola said it about Italian films, that like Italian people don't really watch Italian kind of like indie cinema. And I think it was a Danish film that we discussed, and also they said like, we don't really watch many Danish films, and it was acclaimed kind of like, in the UK and here and there. And it's kind of like, yeah, I'm from Poland originally, so kind of like, I don't think like, well, Poland doesn't, maybe they make kind of like good movies, but I haven't, to be honest, seen a very good Polish movie in a long time. But yeah, it might be a kind of like the thing that we kind of like don't really acknowledge our own, but then we're proud of our own when they do well. And also like sometimes like, with the subject of the film about kind of like a conflict, like internal conflict about your own gender and kind of like the physicality against the way you feel. Maybe that's a sore point, kind of, that is not really kind of like, it is discussed, but maybe it's not so acknowledged, because it's still kind of like, it's still a fairly new thing, even in the UK. Kind of like, we obviously have groups and kind of like, yeah, it's been talked about, but still there is a lot of people in certain places that feel kind of like suppressed. And I was wondering, maybe kind of like because of the subject of a movie, maybe that's why it's a little bit kind of like less out there. And
yeah, I think definitely it's been called like an indie movie, sort of, because it's not a popular movie in that way. I think it's been shown to schools, to start a discussion in schools in Sweden, but it's not a movie that you go to like on a Saturday evening just to have fun. And I think that's also why it's been received so well in some parts of other countries, because when it was shown it was supposed to be shown in, I think it was Russia, and they had to fly the director and the producer out directly because there was a bomb threat on the showing of the movie. So that was weird and kind of like in your face, sort of, because I'd been in that movie and we didn't do anything wrong, but
yeah, well,
yeah.
Also, I think that in Russia they do even worse than that. I mean, I've seen Russian movie, definitely, very, very overly dramatic films, and that they really show everything. I mean, I don't think this, they just hide certain themes or certain subjects. So yeah, it's just I wonder what it was.
May
Yeah.
I say something
Sure.
now? Hello, Tuva and South Social crew and everyone else. I'm Pia, and I'm the cultural attaché at the Swedish Embassy in London. And I'm so happy to take part of this Q&A and that you could make it, Tuva. It's really lovely to see you, if even only on a screen. I used to, before I came to London, I used to work as head of international at the Swedish Film Institute. So I worked really a lot with this film in different countries. So my task and my department's task was to promote Swedish films in other countries. And this film was amazing to work with. And it, of course, had its world premiere at the Toronto Film Festival, and the audience was really happy about the film, and Alexandra, the director, was there, and I traveled with it to quite a few festivals. The festival in Russia was the Side by Side Festival, which is an HBTQ festival, which is always very controversial in the country, and we've had a few Swedish films, because there are Swedish films every year about on themes dealing with HBTQ themes, and it's always really difficult in Russia. And they're very brave, this festival, actually, and they have had so many demonstrators and bomb threats and things. But that year was quite, I wasn't there myself, but that year was quite a big thing. It happened also to Ella Lemhagen's film Patrick 1.5, if you remember that, another HBTQ film, which is really LGBT film, which is really interesting as well and fun. And so twice we had to evacuate the filmmakers from that festival. But thinking of what you said, I find this so interesting, because I worked so much with Swedish films in other countries, and I very often saw what you just explained, Tuva, that the films actually find their audience in an easier way, perhaps, in other countries than in Sweden itself. And I think the most, with this film, I think it also targets a young audience, a younger audience, young adults. And I think in Sweden, many young adults don't find it that cool to see Swedish films. And so those films are much more difficult to promote in Sweden. And then they come to another country and they're much more popular and much more highly appreciated by the audience in other countries. And it's so strange. It's always such an experience to see that. It's interesting to think about it, I think.
Yeah.
But focusing on you now, this was your first acting experience. Did you, after this experience with Girls Lost, was that when you decided that you wanted to actually become an actress and continue doing this? So,
Yeah.
and then you were just 16, you left school. And so what did you do then? Did you start doing acting instantly? Did you go to a special high school or a college to study acting, or did you just do it while you were at school to begin with?
Well, you should know gymnasium.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's
What's
the
that
word
called?
I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High school or college or whatever
Yeah.
it's called. I in Sweden you go to 9 grades and then you're done. That's all you have to do. But then
That's
you have
your GCSE, yeah, in England.
Then
yeah.
you have 3 more that almost everybody does this.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to work as like a waitress or something.
Yeah, leading up to your A levels.
Yes.
So that's what you were actually going to do.
Yes. The first month of my first year was the month we were filming Girls Lost, and so I missed the first month of the last 3 years of school. But I went to a school that focused on music, because when I was applying to this school, I was super into music, and I was like, I'm going to be a musician, of course. So I was singing, and had like 7 singing lessons a week, on top of the usual curriculum. And I did that for 3 years, and then at the same time I was applying for other schools, like theatre schools then,
Can I
to
ask, do you still
continue.
sing?
I wish I did. I sing. I don't sing like professionally, but I sing.
You still do.
Lots of times I sing. I wish I didn't, because I can sing, but now I'm not warmed up, and I haven't been using my voice in that way for a long time. And I wish I could do that more, but there's not time. But the dream would be to do like a musical or something where I could both sing and act at the same time. That would be lovely.
You should come to London and do that. Having an agent here and everything. It would be wonderful in the West End.
Yes. I was actually applying to Lambda, RADA and Guildhall my last year of these last 3 years. But I didn't get in. I got to the second audition in Lambda, but that was as far as I got.
But anyway, you've been working also in lots of different shorts, right? I mean, you've been working through the years, right?
Yeah. When I was done with school, I did like short courses here and there, just to try to find something interesting, and I did lots of short films, traveling across the country, up and down by train. And did short film after short film. It was mostly school productions, but then also I've been in like small roles in bigger productions as well. And I actually also had a role at a theatre about 2 years ago that I was casting. And usually in Sweden, you have to have like a proper education to work in the theatre, in the established theatres. So I was very lucky to get in there just for this one play.
Right. Yeah. And now we were just talking just prior to the start of the meeting. You were saying that you were also working behind the camera, so you got both experience, acting in front of the camera and behind the camera. So tell us about a bit what you're doing right now.
Right now I'm working on a humor series, a Swedish humor series, and it's about a woman who just has separated from her man, and the average life of her. And I'm working as a third assistant director, which means I like keep track of where the actors are, if they have the little microphones, and if they are made up, and if they are having the right costume, and if they know the script. And I'm supposed to make sure they're on set on time. And I'm also in charge of the children, and that I think is the most fun, because we have 2 8-year-olds and they are lovely to work with. They have so much imagination. I love it.
Most of directors say that the animals, the children, are the worst to work with, and you're the exact opposite. So
yes, yes. Well, I don't have to direct them. No, but these children are actually lovely, even very good actors. Because with children, it's always a gamble. You either have children who feel very uncomfortable in front of the camera, and then there are the children who are just playing, because children are very good at playing and playing pretend. And if you just see it as that, just playing, but with a script, it's not that hard actually. And I think that we were lucky, and we have 2 very imaginative, very nice, well-behaved couple kids, and yeah, they're lovely to work with.
And what about inside any project of yours? I mean, have you ever started writing a screenplay, especially during the lockdown? You know, it's like everybody went back to writing, or, you know, trying to think of new projects, you know, just to keep busy. So
yeah, I actually did that. I took a long distance course in writing, and I wrote a short story, and I sent it into bookmaker, someone who makes books. And they made a collection with my short story in them, and you can actually buy it in stores. So that was cool. That just happened. I don't know. It was just 8 pages long. I'm not very patient, and I think that's one of my worst things that I have. I'm not very patient. So 8 pages, that's about as long as I can go. But my boyfriend is working as a producer, so that's lucky. So if I ever write something, I'll just send it on to him, and he can produce it.
Oh. That's a very good deal.
All in the family then.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you keep in touch with Alexandra, the director, Tuva? Now?
I've met her, but only like on festivals and chance meetings. She's always very lovely, but I think she has very much to do, because she's like, oh, we have to meet up someday and just catch up, but it's never actually happened. She's very busy. Yeah,
but now she's also going to work with Kristin Scott Thomas, so that will be your colleague, having worked with Alexandra, the two of you. You can be associated with her. You were her first actress, one of the first.
Yeah.
So cool. That's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we know also she's got a little baby, so she's got family, you know, time is very short when you've got, you know, a small child, and then also big film, so lots of things at the same time. But yeah, no, definitely. I think you got, I mean, everything on your side, Tuva, because you know, you started with a great film, and you know, with a director that, you know, from what you're telling us tonight, you know, really helped, and you know, it was a very nice set, you know, with lots of friends or family type attitude, and then, you know, little by little you're growing up, you know, with shorts and TV series and whatever you're doing. So yeah, I mean, we just want to hear from you in the future. You're going to do some.
Can I ask just one more thing? Considering your kind of like journey from your first kind of like experience with acting, and then kind of like go into behind the scenes, do you kind of like have an idea where are you going at the moment? Do you want to continue as an actress, or is there kind of like anything else that you want to explore? Because clearly you want to kind of like put your hands on anything that goes on, and kind of like just see what's out there. But do you have an idea of like where you're going at the moment, or is it still kind of like very much open, and we can see so much from you?
I still want to be an actor, but behind the scenes I love working with props and like creating an environment for the actors to work with. That is such creative and fanciful work environment, so I'd love to do that.
Okay,
great.
We'll keep our fingers crossed and keep our eyes out for you. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, hoping to go back to live events, especially because we've been doing online Cineclub, you know, as a way to continue to do our work, which is usually live events, you know, with music, dance, food, drinks, everything. So, you know, we're kind of, you know, on a smaller kind of platform right now, but we're very happy because we're meeting lots of incredible people, and you know, exactly, we continue to love cinema and to support, you know, all the people working in cinema, which is very important for us. So thank you, Tuva, really for coming tonight and for, you know, being here with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, and yeah, it's been great to hear about your journey, and yeah, we look forward to kind of like what comes up next.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, and okay. As far as our next Cineclub, next week we got the Danish Cineclub. We got another great film, And so I hope that, you know, some of you will be with us. And meanwhile, I'll just, you know, wish you a great evening for tonight. Thank you, Pia, for being here and then, you know, helping us out and working with us. It was really,
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, Tuva, for joining this discussion. It's lovely to meet you. And please reach out to the embassy if you have any project coming up in the UK. It would be amazing to meet you in real life as well.
Thank you so much for your time, everyone, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.